Here we are, back at it again. Another episode of the artistry of I am your host, Bo Miles. Yes, it's time. All right, let's see what's been going on before we jump into today's episode. Now, when I was listening to, and I can fix this in post, but when I was listening to the episode, it seemed like at some point it just got lower in volume. So I'm not sure if I was away from the mic or what. And I'm sure that I've even looked, that I was able to even look during post and see the wave and saw that it was smaller and just didn't address it. So that's something that's on my mind. My YouTube studies and my YouTube project, experiment, whatever you want to call it, that's going very well. So I'm definitely moving upward, right? So I'm moving upward, and you just got to be happy. You got to be happy from that. So that's good. One thing that I definitely want to speak on is mentors, because like I've always tried and always sought out mentors. Like I never had a thing against mentors, but I think me at the core of who I am, mentors, they don't really like me. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I have to look at myself like, okay, because when some of my listeners, some of you guys out there, maybe you tried to acquire or seek out mentors, and for whatever reason it falls through. But some of you have been successful and to have been able to keep that mentor for forever, right? Throughout whatever your experience, the length of your endeavor. But I found that many of the mentors that I've had, like they all go away. So I seek out these mentors. I remember when I first wanted to play the piano. Now you guys remember I've always wanted, even when I was 7, I wanted to play the piano, and I was close to a mentor. I was close to a teacher who taught music. I don't remember his name, but we used to play right above his studio, his music studio, outside. So we would see the students come and go, and I spoke about this before, but I didn't have the money. My family didn't have the money for the music lessons, so I couldn't get music lessons. And that story just translates throughout my life. I'm not opposed to paying someone for guidance. I'm not opposed to that. But true mentorship is not about money. There are people that I work with in different facets because I just genuinely love the exchange. I just genuinely love teaching and helping. This isn't taking a shot at anyone who, look, only way I'm going to help somebody is if they pay me. This is not taking a shot against you, because that's who you are. So I'm not saying that you need to be this way or that way. I'm just saying that I haven't been able to find someone like me who is just they just genuinely want to share this experience. They just genuinely want to do it. So what happens is when you find someone, and it's not just monetary, because you're going to find people who will work with you for a certain amount of time, and then that time ends. So what is that? It's the same as monetary gain. But instead of money, they want something else. And I'm not talking about they want a relationship with you. They want, it's some type of something in the feedback loop, right? It's something in that loop that they're looking for. So whether it's money or it's success or whether it's whatever, because you'll find like in music, you'll find like a prodigy, someone who is very young and has they have this musical sensibility. They have a musical focus. They have a musical understanding. They've been in it. People have been working with them for a long time. So you'll find musicians who, that's the only type of people they want to work with. They want to work with you if you're about to take off, if you have some type of story, some type of anomaly that where they can benefit. And this isn't bad. Like, I'm not saying that this is bad. This is a bad thing. It's not bad unless that's the only guidance, that's the only type of mentor you can find. Then that's a problem, because what happens is it's like taekwondo and karate and all of these things where lacrosse, sports that are geared to the rich. Only rich people do these sports because only people who want money teach them. So then it becomes like a rich man's sport. And jiu-jitsu is like that. Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but it didn't start out like that. Brazilian jiu-jitsu started out on the beach for free. The Gracies would go down to the beach, go to the beaches in Brazil and practice jiu-jitsu. The sons, they were learning it from their father, Eliu, and his brother, Carlson, right? So they were teaching it to his sons, but a lot of those kids, they weren't his son. But because they came under his wing, they became students. They became his sons. They became brothers, right? And that's what you get. Wing Chun, all of your arts, all of your martial arts. And this is not saying that a teacher should not charge. Look, charge. If that's what you feel in your heart, do that by any means. But for those of us who can't afford this relationship, or those of us who can afford it and for whatever reason the relationship still ends, we have to be aware of our story. This is your story. So when we go back to the first time I wanted to learn the piano, and my family didn't have the money for the lesson, you think all like those musical giants that I knew, and I'm talking about as a kid, like we talk about the Ron Hawkins and so many countless others who are gifted. You think that money stopped them? No. It didn't stop them because they were in a position to get the knowledge for free. They were in a position to obtain the knowledge without paying. They couldn't pay. So they obtained it for free. So that's why you get your black musicians who are high level. They are church musicians. In Japan, in Europe, other areas like that, these high level, even in America, these high level musicians who are in conservatories, these are people who have been taking lessons, people who have been exposed to an expensive lane of music. To go to these schools is expensive. Why? Because these great teachers are looking for a certain type of student in the feedback loop. We look at Beethoven. Beethoven was taught by his father. And once his father took him as far as that he could go, and Beethoven just ran with it and went the rest of the way on his own. He got his endorsement by Haydn. But Beethoven would say, like, yo, Haydn didn't teach me anything. Haydn didn't do anything for me musically. He was already well beyond Haydn. He just needed that endorsement. That was the path of Beethoven. Each of us, we have our path. So if our path is one of mentorship, if it's one of friendship, if it's one of intense love, then that's our path. But if it's not, then that's okay as well. That's our path. So if your path is there are no mentors, there is no love and support from your family. There is no this, there is no that. Yes, person B or person C, they received the love and support from their parents or the love and support from their community. Person D didn't, right? No matter what our path is, we have to accept it and love our path. This is why we are who we are. And we should not long for anything but ourselves. Because you don't choose your path. This is a nod to our Fate and Destiny episode. You don't choose. You can say, a person can look back, because that is what? Hindsight is 20/20. We can look back and say the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And oh yeah, that was because we can always do that, but that will hurt you. That will hurt you if you just look back and say, oh well, this happened because of this, right? We look at Tupac and we say, oh, if he didn't get on death row, he'd still be alive. But if you look, they'll say, oh, well, death row, Suge made Tupac a gangster. Suge did this to Tupac. But you can hear stories about Tupac before Suge, before Death Row, that are inklings, that are previews of things to come. And this is before he was even with Death Row. These are stories and type of ways that he acted and behaved before the Bloods, before he got I can't say that he was a blood, but however, affiliated. Before he was affiliated with gangs, right? Because that's what they'll say. Oh, he just got a taste of that. He couldn't look. It'll mess you up if you get it. Nah. These are stories countless times. He's all over the country before Death Row, before the Bloods, and he's acting the same way. This is who he is. For good or for worse, for better or for worse. I was watching the movie Troy. This was maybe a couple weeks ago. And I might have spoke on this, but it's always good. I can bring this up every week because it's a good movie and it's a good line. And it's when the little boy says, this is the biggest, whoever that these guys have, this is the biggest warrior that he's ever seen in his life. He would never go out and fight him. And Achilles says, that's why you will never be remembered. No one will remember your name. He's saying not that you have to be you have to be someone else other than yourself, but you have to be yourself. And being yourself is the only way that you will make a mark on this planet. That's the only way, right? Our thoughts, who we are, we're just a wave. And time is the sand. And some people are just little waves, and some people are typhoons. They're huge tsunamis that changes the way the land looks for years to come. But over time, even that change will be forgotten. Over enough amount of time, even a tsunami's impact on land will be forgotten. So that little boy who says, I couldn't fight him. Well, then you won't be remembered as Achilles. But we could have just gave that little boy another name. We could have just gave him whatever name of somebody that's famous of his era. And even though he didn't become Achilles, he became Socrates, right? He became Aristotle. So we can give names because the whole point is you can't look at what I do and try to be me. You have to look at what you do. What is your life telling you that who are you? Your life is telling you who you are. It's telling you the secret to your happiness, because your happiness, that is success. Your happiness and your contentment to live is success. Unfortunately, a lot of our people today, they don't want to live. They don't want to live. Why is that? Why is that? And we have all types of reasons. We have mental illness. We have so many things. But if you're not truly who you want to be, that's going to be a big factor for you wanting to check out. Because I can't say if you're not successful. I was looking at Robin Williams, which he's one of my favorite actors. He is a comedian. He was, right? He was a comedian. He did impersonations like he loved. By him being a comedian, we have to assume that he loved to make people laugh. He loved to make people think. At least, I mean, if you are a comedian, maybe you don't want to make people laugh. Maybe you just want to make people think differently. And comedy is the best way for you to get people to think differently without being offended. So no matter what it is, the reason why you choose comedy, I would say that he was successful. I would say that Robin Williams was successful. Now, I don't know why he did comedy. I don't know if it was to make people think, if it was to make people laugh, but he did that. He made people think. He made people laugh. Here you have a little black boy that's in the hood of Baltimore City, and I'm watching Mork and Mindy, and it was an escape. It was an escape from my reality. I hated going outside. And y'all remember, I'm an outside generation, but the only reason why I hated going outside is because it wasn't safe. It just wasn't safe for you to go outside. Not from the police, but your own people. That's why it wasn't safe. People are always trying to terrorize you and beat you up. And they just want you to think and be like them. If you don't think and you're not like them, well, then you have to die. Wow. Jeez Louise. Here's a story about a lovely lady who was bringing up 3 very lovely girls. Right? Man, why can't my life be like that? Why can't the community be like that? Why can't my experience be pleasant? But I got to worry about bottles being thrown at me and me getting beat up and jumped just for some other people's amusement. Why do my life have to be like that? You turn on that Mork and Mindy. Why can't my life just be like that? So he brought happiness, joy, thought-provoking. He changed minds and lives. By my definition, he was successful. But there was something else that he wasn't agreeing with, that what is it? Or I would say, who is it? Anthony Bourdain, another person, because he was into jiu-jitsu as well. He is a jiu-jitsu brother. There was something, right? So there are my homie VAR, even bringing it on a personal level. There was something there. There was some type of disconnect. There was something that our brothers who checked out early, and our sisters, because there was a female just recently that was in my circle of people that you would know who checked out. So that even was like, man, right? So our brothers and sisters who are checking out early on their own, there is something there. There's a feeling there. And I don't know what that feeling is, so I can't just say what that feeling is, but there's a feeling there that some of us get, some of us don't. So if you get that feeling, it's not about, oh, you got a family that loves you. Oh, you got this and that, and you should. No, I'm not here to tell you that. I'm here to say that that your life is telling you who you are. It's telling you where to find that inner peace. It's telling you your story. Do not look at someone else's story and compare your story to their story. Do not do that. You cannot do that. You have to find peace in your story. You have to find contentment or comfort. You have to find comfort in your story. You have to. That is very important. So when I look at my path, I can't get hung up on mentors that come and go. I can't say, well, what's wrong with me? No, nothing's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with them. We're here for a season. We have a season together. That season will pass, just like the sand. And the water will wash up on that shore and wash up on the beach and change the look of the sand, change the look of the terrain. But enjoy the moments that you are together. So all of my mentors, I can look back at the time when we were together and say, that was a good time. That was one hell of an experience. That was a great experience. That was a great time. All of any mentor that I've had, I can be happy. Because person B may have mentors that are in their life forever, and that is good. I don't. That is good. That's good. Because now I can really enjoy when someone comes into my life and I learn just a little bit from them. One of my mentors, Bob Thompson, a valuable lesson that he told me, and it sticks with me even today. I used this lesson just yesterday, is if you can gain one piece of knowledge from something, it's worth it. If you spend, it doesn't matter how much you spend. You spend $20 on a music book and you learn one thing from it, that it was worth it. So no matter how much money you spend, no matter how much time you spend with a person, if you learn one thing, it was worth it. I'm talking about failed relationships. I'm talking about bullies. I'm talking about all of the things that we don't want to experience and that we see as being bad. Deaths in the family, close ones dying, getting shot, getting beat up, getting whatever. If you can just gain one thing from it, it's worth it. Avoid it as much as you can. I don't want people dying around me. So if I can avoid that, I will. But it's going to happen. It will happen. And when it does happen, if I just have one good memory, if I just have one good thing, and it's there, it's up to me to find it, then it's worth it. Because it's going to happen regardless. So as we're talking about these mentors, we have to speak on my experience with Dennis. Dennis was a huge influence, a huge mentor in my life. And some of the things, this has been hard for me, not really to speak on it like I'm going to cry. Like, no, I don't cry about Dennis. And that's only because he was just that positive in my life that I feel like he's still here. His energy and his wisdom in the terms that we went our separate ways. It wasn't a bad term. So I don't get sad when I think about Dennis. Now I think one time I did cry. I was working on a truck, and I was thinking about Dennis, and I did cry, but I don't usually cry when I think about Dennis. And he, like I said, he was a huge influence, a huge role model, a huge beacon in my life. So, like I said, some of the things, because he has an element in his life that if I speak on it, I'm more concerned about his legacy. And I don't want people to just run and that's just the caption of his legacy. That's just where they label him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of saying his name, so I won't even say his name moving forward, I'm going to just call him Eric. So this way, it protects his legacy, and yeah, because that's really what I want. Because we're going to go to a place in his story where I really don't fear a lawsuit because me and my friends, we have a saying like, yo, I want to get sued. That means you're doing something right, because they're not suing. People who are unsuccessful are not getting sued. So I'm not really afraid of a lawsuit, but I want his character and his memory to not just be like a footnote, just this is the gimmick. So, like I said, moving forward, we're going to use the name Eric. Now, I have to take my dog out to eat and do all of those things. Last week, when I had my my pauses and I had my interruptions, I used a sound cue that I didn't even speak about. I just did it in post. So I'm going to use that now, right? But I really like that. So some of you guys, you might have picked up on it. The my 10 listeners who listen, you might have picked up that like, yo, we got a little sound cue. I told you I'm gradually doing this. So yeah, we're gonna pause it. You guys will hear a sound cue, and then we'll pick it back up, and we'll just run with the first time that I met Eric, and we're gonna run through the whole story. So, boom, boom, boom.
Let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.
Boom. All right. So to set the stage for Eric, we have to set the stage, the setting for where I was in my life. So This time I'm in middle school. So we're talking about the setting. It's middle school, and I know it was around the time I had my girlfriend Tiffany. So I'm not sure if it was towards the end of our relationship or if it was in the middle, because I remember one time he took me down there so that I could, see her. Because I used to spend like the weekend. I would go down there on like Friday and then come back Sunday. And no, you pervs, we didn't do anything carnal. Not because I didn't want to or I didn't try, because your boy was trying. Look, your boy trying to get up in there, but she wasn't having it. Okay, she wasn't having it. So it is what it is. But yeah, it was around that time because, like I said, I remember him taking me down there one time. But it could have been at the end of our relationship or the middle. So that would be probably like my eighth grade. My 8th grade year. I would say even. Yeah, it would have been probably been around like my 8th grade year. So the regular homies around the neighborhood, they're hanging out and they're chilling, and they meet them first because I believe that's when I got introduced. Like, yo, it's a new cat in the neighborhood. We got Eric, right? So I'm like, oh, all right, yo, what's up, everybody? Like, yo, we going over there. That's where we hanging out at, right? He moved around like to the corner. He moved on the corner of like Caroline, the 1800 block at Caroline. He moved on the corner, and his cousin, allegedly, because you really don't know whose cousins in the hood. You don't know who real blood cousins and who not. But his cousin lived on the first floor and the second. So his cousin lived like on the second floor, and he lived on the third. He moved, so then the homies met him first, and then I got introduced to him, and I liked him. I liked him just right off the bat. He just seemed really cool. He had dreads. He was stylish. He was definitely like a big brother. He was there like, yo, just from the door. Like, yo, man, this guy, real influential. And everybody liked him because he just was cool and he was older. So he would get everybody like alcohol and we already had access to weed and stuff like that because by that time people were already selling, like some of the homies are already selling crack at that time. So just a small few, like maybe one or two. I remember Var had me hold a pack. It was like a pack of Coke. So he had me hold a pack. It's probably like a 30, 40 piece of crack. Of Coke. It wasn't crack. It wasn't rocks. It was just the powder. So he had the Coke. So cats are already dabbling in that, but we're young. We're underage, so we couldn't get alcohol. So Eric, he could get it, right? So boom, everybody, we all hanging, we all chilling. And we used to play drinking games. So this is like my first memory of him. And for the longest time, I didn't even think he smoked. And I remember they was like, they smoking weed. I was like, what? Like, yo, he don't smoke. And then one of the homies, I think it might have been Jazz. It was somebody. And they was like, yeah, yo, he don't smoke around you. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, because I guess he could just see that he was influential on me, and I didn't smoke. So that was always something, like in the hood, just me growing up, everybody smoking and everybody drinking, and I didn't. And people always saw that as a beacon of possibility, right? I'm not going to say hope, because it doesn't matter if you smoke or you drink. Like, we're all going to check out one way or the other. So it really doesn't matter. But people always saw that as a beacon of possibility, that, look, you don't have to do this stuff. So Eric, he never smoked around me. Now, the drinking, that was my first time drinking, was with, all of my homies. We were all over Eric's, and we were playing these drinking games. And so that was like my first and last time. I think I got drunk maybe 2 to 3 times max, 3 times max. And then I was like, nah, man, I just didn't like the hangover. Just how you felt after the hangover. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it at all. So I'm like, yo. And so he didn't smoke around me. And then once after that, like I said, after my third time of getting drunk, which would have been over a span of maybe 2 months, right? I was like, nah, man, I ain't doing this no more. And I just didn't drink. So I don't know if he drank or not. Like, I don't know. After that, well, I'm sure he did, because the fellas, they kept coming over. It's not like they stopped, right? So, the homies, they smoking, they drinking, and I was just into video games, so I was playing like Street Fighter 2. So that's one of the reasons I would say why I got really good. I got really good because that was the only thing that I did. That was the only thing that I had, was Street Fighter 2 and video games. That's all I had. So that's all I did. That was it. That was the only thing that I did. And I remember it was Ramon. Ramon had some girls, because so this is when I cashed in my V card. So it was Ramon. And I want to say Ramon was Lucas's cousin. But I don't think Lucas was with us. I know it was Ramon. It was somebody and me. So it was like 3 of us. But I know it wasn't Lou. And it wasn't Marty. But I can't think of who the third person, because I just can't think of who that third person was. I don't think it was Lou. But so before I cash in my V card, we're over at Eric's, and we're smoking. Well, like I said, I never smoked. I smoked one time in my life. So it was a cigarette, and so I did hotbox like some weed before, right? So hotboxing is when you just inhale, but you don't breathe, right? You just blow it out. So I did that. And I want to say that maybe Lou or somebody, they had a cigarette. They had a Newport. And I was hotboxing. And Lucas was like, yo, or somebody, it was either Lucas or, it had to have been Lou. So Lou was like, yo, you're not doing it right. Yo, you gotta, when you inhale, then you gotta breathe again, right? So after you get it in, like, so you breathe, now breathe again, right? So, and it was totally different. Like, yo, you could feel that minty taste, like, yo, in my whole throat, like that menthol taste, that mint. It just went down my esophagus. And it just filled my lungs with that minty taste. And at the same time, I started coughing, like, I'm just coughing heavy, right? So that was the first and the last time that I like smoke correctly. Now, before then, I would hotbox weed, right? The same way you just, but you're not, it's not in your system. So because I did that a couple of times, guys, they could tell, like they know if you're doing it right. So it's like, yo, you're just wasting. So, and because of my father not smoking around me, I just didn't see any men smoke. Like coming up as a kid, I never saw any men smoke cigarettes. So to me, when I was growing up, like smoking was a female thing. Like that was for girls. That was for females. That was my thinking back when I was a kid. That only women smoked. That was female. Like men did not smoke. So because no men that I knew smoked around me, like no men smoked in my presence. Like I'd never seen any man smoke a cigarette when I was a kid. Like no men, they just didn't smoke around. They just didn't smoke around me for whatever reason. I don't even know why, but that's why I didn't smoke. So even as a kid, when I'm getting introduced and they, hey, yo, you want this? And I'm like, nah. Because that's like the same as somebody saying, yo, you want to wear this dress? Nah, I'm all right. Yo, you want some of this eyeliner, mascara? Like, nah, I'll pass on that. So then you get, like I said, you got Eric. He's drinking. He never smoked around me. So I didn't smoke. I took that one puff that one time and just I was coughing but I could tell that minty, like that mint feeling and that sensation that you got from it, I could tell and I could see why it could be addictive. Just that sensation, right? We're not even talking about the nicotine aspect and the addictive properties, just that rush that you get and that feeling that you get in your chest and your lungs. So just that alone, I could tell like, yo, I could see why, right? I understood, I could empathize with anyone who smoked cigarettes. But because I just grew up where men didn't smoke, I just like, nah, I'm good. So whenever they would offer, nah, I'm good. Nah, I don't smoke, right? So that's the setting, right? Now we got Dennis or Eric, right? We'll just refer to him as Eric from now on. But we got Eric in there, in the picture, and then I get put out. So I want to say, because remember, I got put out on my birthday, so that's like August. We get put out August. And I go and I tell Eric, like, yo, man, I'm getting put out. He's like, yo, man, you could stay up here, till you figure it out. So then we're over there. But before then, before August, that's when I lose my V card because we're just going over there, right? So we're hooking school. And so Ramon, whoever else, it might have been, I don't know if it was Tweety. No, it couldn't have been Tweety. But it was Ramon and somebody. I just cannot think of who was that freaking other person. I remember the girls, right? I remember the three girls. I just can't remember who was that third guy. But we're over. He was like, yo, he hollered at Eric, like, yo, man, like, yo, you mind if we chill up in here and hang out in here? So Eric like, yeah, y'all could, cause we hooked school. Eric like, yo, yeah, y'all can bring him up in here, right, for a little bit, cause I don't know if he had to go to work or he had to do something, but he let us, bring the girls up in there for a little bit. And I remember we're there, so I don't know if his cousin or whatever was like, yo, man, I don't want those girls in there because anything can happen. That's just gonna bring heat. Because that's usually in the hood, for the most part, like, yo, they don't want the heat around it. You don't want cops. You don't want police. You don't want any just meddling by the law. You don't want them around because people in the hood got all types of stuff going on. So they want to keep cops as far away as possible. So I want to say because we're hooking school, maybe his cousin like, yo, nah, man, I don't want that type of heat around here. Because that's all I need is something to go down. Then, boom, then they coming after me because I'm the adult, right? Because his cousin was an adult. He's an adult. You know, we're kids. Even the girls are our age, right? And they're only interacting with us. So then I want to say Eric, he probably said like, yo, but like we was getting it in. I didn't cash in my card, but it was definitely out of my wallet. You know, that V card was out. And, I'm making out with the girl that I had. And, I mean, it's so many names like this, so I don't really feel like this is any, going to be any type of repercussions. But her name was Danielle. And so we're just making out, right? So we got Danielle, we got Tasha, and we got Candy. So those were the girls. It's me and Ramon. I just can't think of who. I just cannot think of, for the death of me, I cannot think of who the third guy was. So we're, it could have, I doubt that it was Lou. I mean, it could have been Lou, but I just doubt that it was Lou. But, with me and Danielle, we're making out, and we're all in the same room, right? So then Eric come back, yo, man, y'all can't be here. Just like, yo, this is hot, underage, Carnell. Like, y'all just, nah, man, that's just bad business. So then we had to go. So I want to say that Ramon, we'll just say Moan. Nah, that's pause, right? But Roro, right? Roro, he like, yo, my mom, I think she go to work around 10 or she go to work at like 11. So we can go over to my house after 10 or 11. So we killed some time over at Eric's, and then we head over to, and I don't know why we didn't just go to my place. I'm not sure why we didn't, but we didn't. So then we go down to Rose, which is, so most of us live on the 1800 block. I want to say that Roe was down like on the 13. He might have been like on the 13 or 1400 block of Dallas. So then we walk, right? We got to walk all the way down. And boom, we go up in this spot, go in the basement, and get this thing cracking. So it's like an episode of Kids out this piece. All right, like, look, this is uncut. So your boy, he got cash in that V card. So boom, cash it in. We didn't switch off. Now most people I know in these type of stories, like, yo, they switch. Like, yo, I mean, at this point, all inhibitions are gone. Like, yo, it's go time. But that didn't happen. It was just, we got it in, and your boy was definitely lackluster performance. I was probably in for like 10 seconds. That was probably like 10 seconds. Like, yo, your boy was in there for 10 seconds. I want to say like, yo, 10 pumps, and boom, it was release the hounds. So yeah, it was. I definitely and I didn't know what to expect. Like, I know I was just trying because even before then, a year earlier, me and another girl, we was trying. This was in middle school or in school. Like, yo, during like either lunch or gym, you know, look, your boy wasn't playing around, okay? So that was a big thing about it. Because I was trying to get in, but I couldn't get in. So eventually, I want to say lunch, whatever was over. We're on the third floor, so eventually it's over, and boom, we got look. I mean, I've been trying, but she was like scooting back and scooting, so I couldn't get in. And I remember Jabari, that was he was the one who really set this thing up. I wasn't even going after it. Like I'm just in school. I'm just in class. It's nothing. It's just boom. We just out. We just regular 7th grade life, 7th grade living. And Jabari like, yo, shorty, she wants you. Like what? Like, yeah. She like she wants you to go up on the 3rd floor because Lombard at that time, the 3rd floor was closed down. It was closed, so they was only running on 2 floors. That 3rd floor was locked down. You couldn't go up there. Nobody could go up there, but you could still walk up there. But you just wasn't allowed. So Jabari, he put the play in motion. He put the deal. He lined it up. He was my broker. He's my 7th grade broker right there. Shout out to Jabari. So I'm like, all right. He like, yo, for real? Like, yeah, man. She want this action. Like, yo, she gonna get it. So I went up, and like I said, I was trying. All the foreplay tactics was in effect, right? So we definitely was definitely using the tactics that we learned from my dad, right? I'm using all of his moves. But the actual key into the ignition, I couldn't get the key into the ignition. I was trying, but she kept scooting back. So boom. So I almost lost my V card. Then I almost cashed it in. Almost cashed in the V card then, but I didn't. And then we fast forward. Eric, he set it up so that boom, we can, get that work on that foreground. And then Ramon take us to where we can now cash in on that background. But after 10, it was, look, like I said, just 0 to 100 real quick, like 10 seconds, I would say, if that. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy, but that was the time, right? That was the time. So it's just life is crazy. And so that is during the school year. And then we get to the summer, you guys know, boom, we get evicted. So then I go to Eric like, yo, I'm out. Like, yo, we're getting evicted. He like, all right, you can stay here. You can stay here. So I'm living over there now, right? So I'm living with Eric, and that's cool. Like it was cool, and he like, yo, y'all got, because it was me and Lou. Lou was also getting put out, and before we even got put out, that's when we tried to buy some crack. And I told y'all that's when the junkie beat us. So that would have been probably like in July. That would have been like in July. So both of us, we know that day is coming, right? That it's coming. Just because like my gas and electricity had already been turned off. So I didn't know that we were getting evicted until the day, like that night when I was coming home, and I just see her getting a lot of stuff, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? She was like, yeah, we're getting evicted tomorrow, like tonight. Because I caught her doing, like, I caught my mom getting the stuff, as much as whatever she could get and she could take. This is probably like, I would say what the time would be like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning will be the time that she's getting the stuff. So I'm like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, they're coming now, right? Like, so in a few hours, right, when the sun is up, like, yo, they coming, they putting us out. So then I'm like, what? Right? So then, boom, and at that night, that's when I go to Eric, and I'm telling him, like, yo, it's cool, y'all, you stay here. So I just, I was there for a few days, and then I remember I came out, and because it's just right around the corner from my house. So after like 2 or 3 days, I came outside. I just stayed in. I didn't even see our stuff. But then after a few days, I came out and I just saw all of our stuff is out. All of our belongings are out on the street. It's just in a pile, right, for the trash company to come and pick it up. So that was just crazy. That was crazy. And after a while, I want to say after like maybe a week, a couple of weeks, then Eric's like, yo, man, y'all gotta get jobs, right? Because we had already lost money on the crack. We try to get this junk, my next door neighbor, we try to get the junkie to go buy it for us, right? Because it's like, yo, I don't know nobody with it. But I knew the plan, like, yo, I knew the plan, how to grind from the bottom. All right, we're gonna buy it, right? We buy an 8-ball, and then we just break it down, and just keep buying 8s, and until we can work our way up to a quarter. And so that was the whole idea. So I had the plan, right? And it's just crazy me thinking back on it. Like, your boy had a plan, right? But I just didn't know how to get it. I just didn't know anybody, right? I didn't have any connections. I'm only like 14, 15 years old. I didn't know anybody. Earl's not around. So when that falls through, we get put out, we get evicted. Now I'm with Eric. Eric, he's like, yo, nah, man, I don't want y'all out here hustling, selling crack. Like, that's a dead man's game. So he don't want us to assist me. Like, yo, man, y'all can get regular jobs, right? Like, yo, fill out the application. So he put us on a regimen. Like, yo, all right, in the morning, y'all gonna go and hit up all of these restaurants. Hit up McDonald's, hit up Burger King, KFC. Like, yo, any restaurant, I want y'all to go and get me like five applications a day. So we went out. Me and Lou, we went out. We went walking. Like, yo, Eric ain't take us. We went out. We went walking looking for jobs. Right now we're underage because I think we was 15, but you got to be 16. Now, if you're 15, you can work, but you need a worker's permit. That they only give that to smart people. So your boy definitely wasn't getting that. All right, I didn't have the grades to get me a job. And I remember there was like a program. There was some type of program like where they was doing like a job fair, but like it was like a worker's permit that you get when you're 15, right? And I remember like, yo, Eric took us to that. So Eric, like, yo, he's like, look, man, I'm gonna keep y'all on the straight and narrow path. So he was trying his damnedest to make sure that we didn't sell crack and that we didn't sell drugs. And like, even as I'm telling this story, like I'm just smiling. And this is why, like I always smile and always have a happiness towards Eric because of that type of person that he was, right? He didn't he worked somewhere. So instead of like, yo, trying to get us a job, he's like, look, man, y'all got to know how to do this on your own. Like, you gotta know how to get a job. You gotta know that it's not just somebody giving you something. You gotta go out and you gotta get it and you gotta earn it. And it's gonna make you feel that much better. He could have easily pulled some strings and got us working at, I think he was working at a deli at the time. He was also a singer. He was in an R&B group. and we met like the guys there, and I remember later on, I got a chance to interact with like Drew Hill and Cisco and them for the second time. The first time it was through Duran and Nate. Nate was their piano player, right? This is back when I think they was called Legacy, and so this was before they was like famous, right? But with Eric, I got a chance to interact with them while they were famous. So, what is that song? Somebody Sleeping in My Bed, like their big hit, like that hit. Like I got a chance to interact with them during that hit, right? So that was the thing. Like just with Eric, because he was an R&B singer, like I was just getting those type of opportunities. I was getting those opportunities, and I couldn't even play the piano that well. Like I wasn't like I didn't become okay on the piano until college, right? But I was good enough to just, they brought me around and I played like a few chords and they would sing. But I wasn't serious. I wasn't serious because I didn't know that I could be serious. I didn't have a roadmap or a blueprint. I just didn't have anything. So I didn't know. But I would have definitely like, yo, man, let me be y'all piano player. And I just come to all your rehearsals and let me just run y'all rehearsals. Let me just, I will learn how y'all do it. And then eventually I'll just start running your rehearsals. So that's some of the regret that I wish that I was a better musician when I knew Eric, so that I could help him and his group. So, boom, we're living. So flashback, we're living, me and Lou were living over at Eric's. And then I want to say at some point, that's when some of the controversy happens, because it was one of the homies, I'm not going to say his name because we're still friends. And I was talking with one of my homies back home, and he was telling me like, yo, yeah, he not doing well, right? He's not doing well. So, I don't want to put that out there on him, but what happened was, we hang out with Eric, and I've told this story before. I just didn't give a name to him, and I didn't give like the context. But now, you feel me? We're about to hear the story, and we're about to get context. So we're about to put a name. So I want to say this is the time that I'm living there, and sometimes, but I'm not around him all the time. I'm not around. Like I'm hanging out with my cousins, Al and John. I'm down there for the most part, right? And I'm hanging out with friends and just doing my video games and doing all that other stuff. So, Eric, he's hanging out with the homies that's in the neighborhood. And then they start hanging out with one of his friends. They're hanging out with one of his friends, and they would go out to the county. So they're going out to Baltimore County. And I went out there one time. Remember, like I said, I told the story. I just didn't say that it was Eric. So I went out to the county one time, and they're out there, the regular smoking and drinking and stuff like that. And that's when they had like this weird porn. Like it was like, what I remember, it was like, it would be like 3 titties or 4 titties and 2 dicks. Like a guy would have like 2 dicks or something. It was just real weird and bizarre. It's the first time I've seen anything weird and bizarre. And I want to say since, like I haven't gone looking for that type of content ever again, right? But that was the first time that I've seen like weird porn like that. So they're watching that stuff. They're smoking and drinking. But remember, I don't smoke or drink. So by the time when we're going out to the county, like, yo, I've already hit my 3, I've already been drunk for the 3rd time. So I'm not drinking at all. Like, yo, I'm good. Nah, I just don't like that feeling. And the smoking part, like I attribute, one time when I smoked weed, it was when we got into a fight. So it was like a big, huge gang fight. And I talked about this before as well, but I don't believe that I brought up the weed aspect to it, right? But this is the reason why I never smoked again. And I wasn't even high because remember, I was hotboxing. So I wasn't even smoking weed right. So I didn't get high. But me and my school buddies, we were coming from this girl's house. So we're coming from this girl's house. We walk through Harford Road. It's like Harford and Cliffview. Yeah, I think it's Cliffview. I don't think it's Clifford. I think it's Cliffview. So Harford and Cliffview. We're walking through, and I get hit with a sheet of ice. Like somebody hit me, and I'm looking, and it's just a gang of guys, and they just laughing. And I'm with my school buddy, so I'm like, yo, let's just get out of here. So I, get them to safety. We're out of trouble. We're out of any type of problems. And if I could do this over, I would just would have went home and just either played Street Fighter or just went to sleep. Like if I could do this over, like that's what I would have did. I should have went over to Al and John's, my cousin's house, and just told them what happened. Right? But your boy was just feeling like a big boy, putting on his big boy pants. So I go to my hood and I tell them what happened. When I tell them, they like, yo, man, let's go up there, right? Because that's the mentality. Yo, man, let's go up there, man. We're just not gonna let that slide, right? And I already knew. Remember, I talked about Harford Road before with my dad. Like, yo, my dad, we saw a Harford Road engagement, interaction, and he's like, yo, man, keep it moving. so I already knew, but yo, man, I really was, I just was somebody who I wasn't. Okay, I thought I was somebody else. So I tell them, and they feel the same way. Like, yo, we feeling like, yo, we big boys. So we're listening to like Method Man. We're listening to Bring the Pain. We're listening to Wu-Tang. They passing the weed. It's probably like maybe 8 to 11 of us. They're passing the weed around. So I already know what time we're going to go up there and I'm going to fight whoever threw the sheet, right? Whoever hit me with that ice snowball, like, yo, I'm going up there. We're going to fight. So, boom, they smoking weed. We listening to the music. Like, yo, they pass it to me. All right, boom, let's get this edge off and let's go up there and let's handle business. So I'm smoking. And we go up. It's like 11 of us going into the belly of the beast. And it's probably like a couple. It's probably like maybe 4. It's probably like 4 or 5 of them, right? That's out. And I'm like, yo, who hit me with the ice, right? Who hit me with the ice, with the sheet or whatever? And then some little kid comes out. Well, I'm not going to fight him. So I'm like, yo, Shorty, handle this, right? So I told Shorty, which is one of our little soldiers, but Shorty like 14. He's just short. He's just small, but he's like 14. This kid who hit me with the ice is probably like 11, right? So this kid is about to get beat down, and this other kid comes up. I think his name was David. That's what I learned later. I don't know if it was him, but I want to say that's because you know how it is. The streets talk. Like, yo, the streets know who shot Tupac. The streets know who shot Biggie. So the streets told me that the kid that I was fighting, his name was David. And I want to say he had like scoliosis or something. So David like, yo, you fight me? I'm like, what? He like, yo, fight me. I mean, y'all, you came up here to fight. You want to fight? Like, yo, fight me. I'm like, all right. So boom, we square up. And my jab, it just wasn't crispy. My jab it just wasn't as crispy as I would like. I want to say that jab, I had a soggy jab that day. And it was weird. Like I could feel it. I could feel it being not as crispy, right? So it was like I was judging distance as opposed to just going in and rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat on his head. So I'm trying to like set up distance, but it was a learning experience because in a real fight, like, yo, nah, just go ahead and handle your business, and you can control and establish distance later, right? But in a real fight, like, yo, nah, man, ain't no establishing distance. No. In a boxing match where you boxing, yeah, you want to establish because there's a lot of other factors into play. There's going to be more rounds. You don't want to wear yourself out. Like, there's reasons why you do certain things in a ring or in a sanctioned fight versus an unsanctioned fight. So I had to learn the hard way. So here I am trying to establish distance, and it didn't matter. So once we locked up, meaning that I don't know if he peppered me or if I peppered him. I really don't remember hitting him with those jabs, right? I don't remember hitting him with the jabs. And that's the crazy thing. Like, even most people that, when I remember the fights, like, I usually cut my hand when I hit them in their mouth, right? Like, a lot of people cut my hand on their tooth or whatever. So I'm going straight for his nose. I don't remember hitting him, but I guess at some point he either hit me or I hit him because now we're like grappling. And once we like lock up, once we're grappling, we got each other. I can't even think it was because we don't got underhooks. There's no underhooks or anything. It's just maybe head control, right? So both of us are going for head control, and somehow, some way we're down. Like, I don't know if I slipped or he slipped, but that's usually how it is. Like, you know, even now as I'm a little bit more skilled in the art of physical contact, that's usually how it goes. So we were tussling, and then boom, it's a whole bunch. Like, it's probably like 30 guys. Like, the whole Harford Road gang is out there. Remember, we're in their gang. We're in their hood. So, yeah, it just didn't end well. So all of us got jumped. We call it banked. That's what we call it. Like, yo, I got banked. So all of us got banked. I remember, I'm fighting David, and then all of a sudden I get hit because I think I'm on top of him, and then I get hit, and then boom, then I fall on the side. So then I'm just getting hit. I'm just getting kicked and just stomped all in the face. And I remember thinking, like, any minute now I'm gonna pass out. Like, oh, I guess, I'm gonna get knocked out. They're just kicking me all in my face and in my head. And after a while I was like, yo, well, I guess I'm not going out. I'm not gonna pass out. So I gotta get up. And when I got up, that's when I see all my homies. They're all fighting. Everybody's fighting. And just trying to make it out. just trying to make it out, like, retreat. And I remember Ty, one of the homies, one of the newer additions to the group. Ty, he was out there, a true soldier. He was throwing bottles, right? He was our archer. He was throwing bottles, right? So he's our distance archer, just relieving that pressure because boom, he throwing bottles. So now people kind of, scattering, giving us a chance. So we get out there, and it was just crazy. It was pretty bad. So that's why I never smoked. So that was the first time that I smoked weed, and the last time, because I attributed my crispiness to that. like, yo, man, I just wasn't that. And I could feel, like I said, I felt that jab. It just wasn't crispy. It just wasn't crispy. So I never smoked again. So now we're out in the county at this time. So now I don't smoke or drink, period. So everybody else is smoking and drinking, but I don't. They got this weird porn on, but it's like, yo, I mean, all right, I can eat. You feel me? We eating that pizza or eating burgers or something. But other than that, like, it was really no reason for me to be out there. And remember, Eric, I'm like a little brother to him. So any type of situations that's like negative, bad, he's not going to bring me around for those type of situations. So they went out into the county more times, but I didn't go. Like, he didn't tell me, I wasn't invited. Like, I didn't care because I'm out, just boom. I'm over my cousins, like I'm doing other things. So this other homie, where I get back that he went out into the county and he woke up. Somebody was giving him that sloppy top. Like, what? Like, yeah. Like, yo, somebody giving him that top work. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yeah, yo. So like, who? Like, yo, they were saying that it was Eric. I'm like, hell no. Like, hell no. Like, yo, nah. So then we come to find out that it was Eric's friend, right? The guy house it was that we was going to. So then now you just got lore. It's hood lore, right? So it's not just the story, because the story is the homie go, he wake up, somebody topping him off, and he's drunk and he's kind of out of it, so he just pretended to just stay asleep. He just pretended to be asleep, right? And so that he can get out of the situation. And then once he got back to the hood, he rang the alarm, and boom. So around this time, I want to say it was probably like it probably was like maybe a week before, or when I heard, it was probably like maybe a few weeks or whatever before. That's when Eric, he was like, yo, man, you got to go. You know, I'm like, what, yo? So he like, yeah. So this is already brewing. So he's just pretty much like, yo, this, you know, he's not gonna be able to stay around. So I didn't know what was brewing, but that's what was going on. So then that's when I reconnect with my dad. So then I move in with my dad. And then I want to say a little bit later, that's when I heard, like, yo, you know. And then so rumors just building on it. So then I heard that it wasn't Eric, that it was just his friend, right? Because remember, the first story was, it was Eric, then it was Eric and his friend, then it was his friend. So look, the hood is just it's just retaliation, it's just retribution, all right? Like, yo, somebody got to answer for this with their flesh, with their skin. And I ain't talking about paws work. I'm talking about knuckles to jaws, right? I'm talking about, all right, well, I guess now you about to pass out type of time. So they, I'm sure they came after Eric. And then Eric and the guy that it happened to, I'm sure that he told them, yo, it was his friend, right? So then it's like, yo, all right, well, where he live? So I'm sure Eric gave up the location to this guy. So boom, they went ahead and took care of that. Now his friend, and I remember his friend, like, just vaguely. Like, I vaguely remember his friend, like what he looked like. It was real weird because I only met him that one time. Remember, I only went out there one time. So, but I kind of vaguely remember him, right? But whatever happened to his friend, he probably got beat up or they robbed him or a little bit of both. That's usually how it works, right? They're gonna beat him up. They're gonna rob him. Like yo, the goons in Baltimore, like yo, they gonna terrorize your house. Like yo, they gonna rip it to shreds. So, you're gonna be passed out and it's gonna be go time. So I can only imagine. I wasn't there for whatever happened, but I've been around for several DPs, so I already know how these things work. And especially on this type of work, right, where you sexually assaulted one of the homeboys, like yo, it's not going to be good. So the retaliation from that is Eric's boy. He got guys to beat up Eric, like yo, beat him up with like a crowbar or whatever. Like yo, they beat him up with bats and stuff. So Eric get beat, and I didn't even know. But he got like, he had to get screws in his face, right? So they really beat the brakes off of him. But like I said, I didn't know because he just disappeared. Like once he told me, because he could already see there's a bad moon horizon. Do 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 do. I see trouble on the way. Don't go out tonight. They're bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. Right. So he could already tell that there was a bad moon on the rise. So he told me, yo, you got to go. But like I said, I didn't know why. I didn't know all this stuff was brewing. But I found out. Weeks later, I found out what happened. And then, so Eric is gone. I don't hear from him. And, but I knew where he worked, right? So I knew where he worked. And I want to say that probably like 2 years had passed. And I ran into him. And then he told me like, yo, he had screws in his face and, the dude had him beat up, had him jump. I'm like, what? Like, yo, nah, man, we got to handle this. He like, nah, we took care of it. So, that was that. So boom, now me and Eric, we rekindle our friendship. And I'm like, probably around 16, and I'm like, I'm trying to move out because I'm living with my cousins, and I told this story before, but there was my girlfriend. It was her name was Sherelle. This is probably like one of the prettiest, just all around, just 10. I'm talking about high level. She should have like been in LA somewhere. If you just think of like LA girls and influencers, like she could have been an influencer. Like, yo, this is like the peak. Just a beautiful face, a beautiful body, like everything was high level, right? So I wanted her to stay the night, and my aunt was like, nah, she can't spend the night, right? Like, yo, I'm not running a brothel up here, right? So I'm like, cool. I mean, I get it. I'm not mad. It's no big deal. And then her daughter boyfriend spends the night. I'm like, yo, nah, man. Like, nah, that ain't gonna fly. You feel me? Like, yo, if I'm not getting treated equally here, then there's really no need for me to be here. So, and it's not like I'm here for free. So, I can just take this money and just go somewhere else where I can get a little bit of equality. So that's my thinking. So, boom, I move out, and boom, I move in with Eric. So he's on West Baltimore now. right? He's in West Baltimore. And he was like, yeah, you can move in. So me and my cousin Al, we move in. I move in first, and then Al moves in next. And I think it had like the issue with him, Eric, and Al. Their issue was like chores, like, you know, Al, because we were all working, but I guess Al didn't want to do his chores. Like, he didn't want to wash the dishes and clean up after himself. So, you know, Eric like, yo, man, you got to, you know, do this and do that. And Al like, yo, Al not trying to hear that, right? And Al could go back home. Like, I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, yo, after, like, once we got put out, like, yo, I remained homeless until now. Like, that's really the way I look at it. Like, so, you know, I was homeless for like 15, 20 years, right? Like I'm still homeless. Like, that's really the way I look at it, right? Like, I never recovered from homelessness. Like, I never recovered. Like, I'm still homeless even today because anything can happen, and then boom, I'm right back at where I was. You know, like a home, like, you know, that's security. Like, that's anything just can't happen, and now you don't have a home anymore, right? So if that can happen to you, this is my thinking. This is how I look at it for myself. If that can happen to me at just the clap of a hand, right? Police come to my house and say, well, you know, your wife don't want you here no more. Well, then you home. Well, then I'm always, so I'm always homeless then. I've always been homeless after we got evicted from when I was 15. Now, if that can't happen, well, then I'm not homeless. So that's how I look at it. So I don't have anywhere to go, right? So, and I really didn't, that type of stuff didn't bother me. Like, yo, cleaning up the bathroom or washing the dishes, especially like, yo, if you cook, wash your pan. Like, yo, clean up after yourself. Like, that type of stuff didn't affect me, didn't bother me. But Al and Eric, like, yo, they clashed on it. They clashed, so then eventually Al moved out. So it's just me and Eric. And we living together. And it's all good. Like, yo, I'm this is like around the time, so I got me a PlayStation. So I'm working at Checkers. I got me a PlayStation, and I got Tekken 2 and Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Tomb Raider and Resident Evil 2. Like, so those are like the type of games that I got. I got Soul Blade. Right? So I'm out there, I'm playing. This is all good. And you know, Eric, he always had like a huge gang of guys. Just like how it was over in East Baltimore with my gang, right? So he has a gang. It's like, yo, it's you know, it's like probably 15 to 20 guys that come over. And one of the guys, his main guy, right, that's like me, right, he takes under his wing. I can't remember his name, but that guy, he got jealous, right? And he just, look, man, it's just on some bitch ass nigga shit. Like, yo, it's just really no other way to really say it, really. Like, it's just no other way to say it because, like, yo, man, I don't know what y'all got going on. Like, yo, man, I don't know nothing about that, all right? So, dude, he get jealous, yo. So he come and he steal my shit. Like, yo, he steals my PlayStation, my games, he steal my Timbs. Like, yo, he just steal my shit. He steals my shit. So, you know, like, yo, he was just jealous. It's like, I don't know why you jealous though. Right? Because if Al moved out, that means there's another room. So if you want to move in, like, yo, you move in. But like, yo, I'm not living here for free though. Like, yo, I got a job. Like, I work. So like, whatever y'all got going on, I don't know nothing about that. Like, y'all don't got nothing to do with that, right? Like, yo, Eric ain't giving me nothing. Like, yo, everything that I got, I paid for it. So if you want it, pay for it. You feel me? Like, yo, you want to live here? Pay, nigga. Pay the rent. Like, yo, it's simple, right? Like, yo, pay rent. You want a fucking PlayStation, nigga? Get a job and buy it. So that's why I feel like, yo, he was just jealous. He was just hurt. Like, yo, but my thinking though, but how though? How was you hurt? Right? How, like, I don't get it. I don't get. So later on, it's like, well, if it was something other than just homies, then I get that, right? So, but like, yo, I didn't get whatever. And like, yo, the gang that he was with, you feel me? Like, yo, they respected me. They respected me more than they respected him. So I'm quite sure, like, yo, a little bit of that took into effect as well. Because I think that's when he that's probably what made him jealous. I had a nice sized room. Like, yo, your boy wasn't playing, man. That was over on Calverton Heights, man. I swear, I loved it over there, man. Damn, I loved it. I had some good times over there. Yeah. Your boy had some good times over on Calverton Heights. Yes. I remember taking a bus home, and it was this girl, a little chocolate thing. And I met her on the bus. Look, I just went in. Your boy went in. I went in after her. And he even walked her home. So we got off. I got off whenever she got off, right? Now remember, I'm not even from this, like, yo, I'm from East Baltimore. Now I'm over West Baltimore. I'm living over West Baltimore with Eric, right? But it's not like we're going out and we're hanging out together. So, I'm like, yo, I don't know his gang. Like, I don't know, like, yo, the niggas that's out there, like, I don't know them. So I get off, but like, yo, they definitely not hitting like East Baltimore as far as just the terror. Like, yo, they're not terrorizing people. Like, yo, East Baltimore, where I grew up at, like, yo, they terrorizing strangers. Yo, if they don't know you, like, yo, you having a bad day. Over West where I was, like, yo, you was good. Like, because West Baltimore, they got money. Like, West Baltimore was about making money. There's a lot of it's gonna be murder no matter where you are in the city. But usually wherever they making money at, they don't want all of that riffraff. Like, yo, they don't want just people just beating up people for no reason. Like, yo, they don't tolerate that. Anywhere where money is being made, like, yo, they don't tolerate goonery and buffoonery. Like, yo, they don't tolerate that. So that was a big reason as well. So over West, like, yo, these guys are they're selling drugs, right? They're like, yo, they're pushing weight, they're making money. So they not just beating up just strangers. So I'm over West. She get off the bus. I'm going with her, right? I'm gonna follow. Yo, I'm gonna walk you home. Like, yo, I'm really trying to holler at her. And this was another guy. I swear I wish I would have like really got a chance to interact with her. But that was the first and last time that I saw her. So I want to say that I gave her my number, which I didn't have a number. So I gave her Eric's, like, the home number, right? And I took her number, but she didn't have a number either. She didn't have a number. So she gave me, like, whatever, the number to that house, right? And we just never crossed paths ever again. But yeah, I remember her, right? So look, man, your boy wasn't playing over at Calverton Heights. Like, man, I loved it. I loved it over there. I did. I loved it, man. And that's where that's when Var came over. That's when the homie who took his life. That's when he told me that he killed somebody. Like, yo, he killed somebody. It was somebody up around the way, So that was that time, right? I was like, damn. he just went out and told me the whole thing. So yeah, man, we just had a good time. I had a nice room, and I remember, like I said, like, yo, that gang liked me more than this dude, right? So they still like Eric, but the guy, the one who was jealous, the one who stole all of my shit, like his gang liked me more than him, because I remember they had this girl, they brought this girl over. So they brought this girl over, and she was in there with them. It was probably like maybe 10 to 12 of them. So they're in there, and so now I come in there like, yo, and just the type of person I am, I'm real blunt. Like when I'm on, right? So, but at the same time, like I like to be quiet. Like I just like to listen and just observe. Like I'm always going to be an observer more. What's the saying? You have 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. So I'm always going to observe first. But when it's time to go in for the kill, when it's go time, like, yo, I don't have a problem with that. I'm ready. Look, let's go. Let's get this thing popping. So it's like I said, it's like 10 or 11 of them, and they got this one girl in there. Look, I take her. Like, yo, man, y'all just bullshitting right now. All right, come over to my room, right? So I bring her over to my room, and it's just me and her in there. And you got the rest of the guys that they are smoking and drinking in Eric's room, right? So it's just me and her. And look, I told y'all how I get down. Y'all know how I get down. So look, man, I'm my father's son. I'm using all his tactics. And that dude, I cannot think of his name, the one who stole from me, the thief, right? He come in there. I'm like, yo, man, you cock blocking right now, right? That's what we called it. You cock blocking. So he just in there hating hard, like not really on with words, just by being there. Yo, man, you don't see I'm trying to get this work going right now, and you making it hot. Like, yo, come on, dog. Why don't you get back in there with your homie, right? So that happened, and then I want to say like maybe the next day, then he just stole all my shit. Like, you feel me? So shout out to him. I don't really remember his name, but look, it is what it is. Like everybody, and that goes back to my beginning when I was saying you can't look at somebody else's life and compare yours to theirs, right? So he looking at my life, but you guys know, especially the ones who listened for a few episodes. If you listen to this, you know that like, yo, I get beat up, I get all types of stuff. I'm homeless even until this day, right? So I don't know what he saw, right? But it's like, yo, man, that's just trick knowledge or whatever you think you're seeing. Like, yo, that's not. You feel me? Everybody got their own battles to fight. So, like I said, yo, he stole all my shit, all my like the Timbs, man, and the most valuable things that he took, I never got it back. Right? I just moved on. I just got other things, but I never, like those Timbs, they were like a peach color, man. Those were my favorite. Those were my favorite Timberlands. And even now I can afford them. Even after the fact, I just never got them ever again. And those were like I said, those were my favorite Timberlands. Like I might have to just go and buy them again. You feel me? For Eric. Like, man. And Eric, he paid. Like, yo, so after my stuff got stolen, all my shit got stolen, I told him, yo, man, what the fuck? All my shit. So then he's like, yo, such and such stole it. And he was telling, like, yeah, man, he was mad. You feel me? He was mad at you, whatever. I'm like, yo. And that's Eric's boy. So I'm not even thinking on some violence. And this is the West. I'm on West Baltimore. Like, so I'm not even thinking of violence. Like, yo, I'm about to Because remember, I learned my lesson from Harvard Road. Like, I learned my lesson. And the lesson from that was like, yo, if you can avoid things with no conflict, with no type of physical conflict, yo, avoid it. Because once you go to that level, that physical level, like, yo, you don't know, you never know what's lurking, right? So I thought we went up there, I thought we was just going to fight. It's just going to be one-on-one, right? Because all the other gang fights that we've been in leading up to that was just one-on-one. Whether you win or you lose, it's one-on-one, right? But, you know, for whatever reason, like, yo, it was like 30. It was 30-11, so it was probably like 3-on-1, and then we had people was leaving. So as one person got out, you feel me, then it became 4, 5, 6-on-1, right? So, but I would have never anticipated that because all of our other fights, it was always one, like your gang fights before it's a gang fight, you can agree to it's a one-on-one battle. So even if my gang comes up to your gang, right, the leaders talk, but see that didn't happen. Now it happened after, and I spoke about the aftermath of that beating that I took, right? So it definitely was retribution. Like, don't get it twisted on that. So, you know, it is what it is, right? Then like, yo, it is what it is. So it was definitely retribution. Like, yo, your boy definitely could walk up and down that neighborhood after a series of events. But all of that could have been avoided if I just would have just went home, right? So lives wouldn't have been lost if I just would have went over to my cousin's house and just told them, because they wasn't about it, right? And which I shouldn't have been about it either, right? But just like the Tupac theory. I mean, who's to say that whoever died wasn't going to die anyway? Like, yo, so, you know, like, it's just the way it is. Like, that's just the way it is. So, but I learned from that. So even with dude, he stole my stuff, I didn't even press it. And Eric, like, yo, I'll pay for it. Like, I'll pay that stuff back. And I never saw that dude again, right? I never saw him again. So boom, we just living life. And like I said, like, yo, Calverton Heights, I loved it over there. And then Eric, he was like, yo, he wanted to buy his mom like a condo far out in the city. It was a real nice neighborhood. So I'm like, yeah, look, let's do it, right? Because he was like, yo, you can come. Because I'm like, man, damn, where am I going to go? He was like, no, you come. Like, yo, come on, man, I got you, right? So I get there, right? So we pick a spot, and I get there, and I just transfer my job. So my job is close. I'm still working at Checkers. I work at Checkers that whole time, from my first job all the way until I left Baltimore City. I just stayed at one place. So I'm working, and sometimes I gotta walk home. Sometimes I get a ride. Like, yo, it's all good. Like, I gotta catch the bus real far to go to school and come home. But it was good. Like, it was good. Sometimes I get a ride. You feel me? Sometimes Eric give me a ride. So then I was messing with this girl. I forgot who set me up. I don't know if Al set me up, or if this girl named Lisa. And I really like Lisa, that I work with, because I know they were friends. I think Al knew this girl, and you know, it's nothing bad, so I can say it, like, so her name was Tamika. So I think Al knew her, and the girl Lisa knew her, right? And Lisa, that was my girl. This was a working buddy. So I remember we had like a secret Santa, and she got my number, you know, where she had to give me a gift, and I got her number, but I didn't give her a gift. And so it's things like that I wish that I could have been better. I could have been a better person and, you know, got her something. She got me a shirt, right? And I just looking back to do things over, not only would I have told myself like, yo, just go home after I got hit with that ice that snowball, right? Go home, cool off. You'll be all right, little nigga. You be all right. I would also told myself like, yo, man, get her a gift. You feel me? Like, yo, man, get her a gift. So I'm out there. We working. We're living out in the county now. So we living out in the county, and everything is good. Everything is good. So Eric, he had a VCR in his room. So the VCR, I'm like, so with the girl, so before the VCR, I think before the VCR, the girl Tamika, she come over, right? And, look, I'm my father's son. So your boy is definitely going to play is gonna play, lover's gonna love. I don't wanna do none of the above, right? So, so look, your boy trying to get it in, but I didn't that day. It was probably on the no. Well, I did, but it was one. It was again. It was on that 10-second game, right? So look. It's just no way around it, all right? Your boy was just, 10 seconds and then he was done. All right, it's just the way it was. It's no way around it. So, but remember, we're in this condo, but Eric's mom is in there too. So, she felt disrespected, which I get it. I get that. And so Eric, he like, yo, man, you just can't be just bringing girls up in here, smashing, having sex with girls. My mom is in here and stuff like that. So, I got it. It's like, we not on, it's not like we're at Calverton Heights. So I'm like, all right, cool. You feel me? Like, I get it. You just there, but at the same time, like, but I ain't living here for free. You feel me? So now we back again. We're always coming to the same type of, roadblock, right? It's the same constant theme that keeps popping up, right? But that's to address the true problem, to address the true issue. So it's like, all right, well, in my mind, look, man, I'm not staying here for free. So, I can take this money somewhere else, right? So we get into it like just a little, like not even a big argument, just a little argument. And it's like, all right, well, I gotta gear up. Like, yo, gotta get ready. You feel me? Because I already know what this looks like. I already know how this ends. So, like, yo, I gotta get ready. And this is at the same time that I'm like, yo, what am I gonna do with my life? Right? This is like, yo, man, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, yo, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How am I going to, this is what I'm thinking. And eventually it's like, yo, all right, I'm going to have to roll out, right? I'm going to have to roll out. And I want to say that was the time when, around that time, that's when I was thinking like, yo, about checking out. I was thinking about checking out. Like, yo, man, I just had to check out. Like, yo, my life is just, like, yo, what am I going to do with my life? Like, yo, what am I going to do? Right? Eric, he got an issue. So I already know that, yo, this is going to, ultimately, this is the beginning of the end. So I'm going to be moving out soon. And, but like, yo, but what am I going to do? Right? I didn't even have a vision. Like, yo, what could I do? Like, I didn't even have a plan for myself. I'm back here again. And I remember they had a pool. And I spoke about this. They had a pool. I was like, yo, man, I could just go drown myself. But I remember what that felt like. So I was like, nah, I ain't gonna. Definitely not gonna check out like that. And I didn't have access to any guns out in the county. So I couldn't shoot myself. So I was like, well, just figure it out. You feel me? So I just hung in there, right? And then eventually I would leave Baltimore. But before then, so we got the argument. We got like, yo, I'm about to check out. Now we're back to Eric's room in the VCR. So he would have porn in his VCR, right? So you go in there, get a good session in, right? Rev up the engine, and then go about your day, right? You go about your life. You good to go, right? So I go in there ready to rev it up, ready up for a rev up session. So there's a tape already in there. So I'm like, all right, well, there's no need looking for something else when there's already a tape in. So look, man, we might as well go ahead and rev up on this thing right now. So I turn his TV on, put it over to the AV input. Boom, let's cue it up. Power on the VCR. Hit play. So the way it works is those type of tapes, like they're gonna have previews for up and coming movies, right? This is where they let you know what's coming out and the new prospects. So boom, look, I'm gonna just fast forward through this, but you gotta watch because I don't have that much time. This is like Mission Impossible. I don't know when he's gonna come home, right? I know that he's not coming home no time soon, but I don't have the luxury to just I'm just in here all day and night. And I don't believe that I didn't have a VCR in my room at all. Only thing I had was my PlayStation. And matter of fact, I had a Dreamcast at that time. So that's all I had was my Dreamcast. Remember, I had it imported. I had it before it even hit America. When it hit Japan, I think it hit Japan like a year, 2 years before it hit America. That's when I had mine. So that's all I got is the Dreamcast. And I might even have a VCR, but, I'm not going to take the tape out and let's just go ahead, get it in where it is, and then we just bring those images, bring that memory back. So I'm in there in this room, turn the TV on, turn the VCR on, hit play, and now we're fast forwarding. So it's fast forwarding. It's just going, boom, it's just fast forwarding. And I'm just trying to get into the movie, rev up the engine, and then close it out, rewind it all the way back, and then boom. Mission Impossible. Doom, 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 doom. This never happened. This never happened. This, right? So as I'm fast forwarding, all right, it's just regular. You're just seeing all of the ads. And there's like a guy, he look like DMX, right? There's a DMX looking guy. So these are new guys. I've never seen any of these guys, and I'm just fast forwarding. And then probably after 20 or 30 seconds of fast forwarding, it rings in my mind that I haven't seen any girls in this fast forward. You feel me? But I'm fast forwarding though. So it's but y'all haven't seen any girls at all. So for 30 seconds, right? Fast forwarding through all of these different intros and clips, advertisements. I'm fast forwarding through all these advertisements. I don't see any girls. So I stop it and just kind of play it at regular speed. Now it's still the previews, right? So I see that it's two guys. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I fast forward it because I'm like, when are they doing that? When are they putting gay previews? This is the first time that I've seen any of this, right? So I fast forward, it's gay preview after gay preview. Then we finally get to the actual first scene, right? The first one, right? This is the actual movie now. it doesn't have a name. It's not like it has a name on the title or whatever, so you can see what it is. So it's not like I know that, okay, it's, Big Black Ass is 5 or something. I don't know what this is. So I'm just playing. Look, man, your boy just trying to rev up the engine for a little bit and get in and get out, okay? As if this never happened. We on the first scene, we got some DMX looking dude come out. He in the room, right, or coming into the door. So first you got DMX. He's in the door. DMX looking dude. And then a little bit later, then you got a Cisco looking dude, like Cisco from Drew Hill looking dude. And all right, okay, it's going to be like a DP. All right, it's going to be a DP. But a female doesn't come in. All of a sudden, they just start like kissing. So I'm like, oh. So at that point, that's when Bo knew that he fucked up. So I stop it right away. Like, oh, like, yo, like, as soon as they start tonguing each other down. I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. So I stop it right away. Boom, rewind it. Yo, I just rewind it. And I'm like, oh, this is the first, so this is the first time that, that I'm even questioning. Because remember, we go back to the homie back when we was on East Baltimore, right? We go back to that. That's when that comes back into my mind. So I'm like, yo, like, damn, man, it wasn't like a huge thing. It wasn't like, yo, man, I gotta kill him. You feel me? Because like he was still like, yo, I knew him, so he's cool. Like, yo, if this is what he into, this is what he into. Like, I don't have nothing to do with that. You feel me? Like, so it's not like, I never had any like hatred or anything like that towards gay people, right? I just didn't know that, you feel me? That, yo, that's the type of stuff that he was into. So I rewind it, put everything back to normal. I never say anything. I don't say anything. And just go on about my day. I'm just watching, I'm just playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? So I'm just playing. I just never say anything. And then I want to say, I don't know if it's the same time or just a little bit later, but he was sick. Like he was sick. He was like losing weight. And I think he had like the flu or whatever, but he lost like a lot of weight. And then I left Baltimore. I left Baltimore City. But they had moved to a place called Owens Mills. He sold the condo and he brought his mom a house, right? So in a nice neighborhood, and he let me he let me move my stuff there and everything. So like, we were still cool. And it was like my sophomore. So I'm in school. I'm at West Virginia State University or West Virginia State College. And this is my second year there. So I'm in a new dorm. And then the RA, his name is Boss. So the RA, he pulls me in the office. He was like, yo, we just got the call, yo, your mom died. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, man, we just got the call, your mom died. So I just break down, I'm just crying. I'm just, like, yo, my mom died. Like, I'm just feeling alone. I'm just, it's my sophomore year, right? My sophomore year, this is 2002 or 2003, right? So I'm just destroyed, right? Devastated or devastated. And I go back to the room. I'm just like, yo, man, what am I gonna do, man? So then I get the message that your mom didn't die. Right? So I'm happy. Yo, my mom didn't die. Man, I'm happy. All right, she didn't die. So then I get the call, yo, you need to call home. So I call, Eric's house. Right? That's my home. I call, and his mom pick up the phone. She says that Eric died. But remember, I was just told that my mother died, now that she's not dead, so I'm happy. Right? I'm happy that my mom didn't die. So now I'm just in shock. What? I'm just in shock, Eric died. And it was man. But I'm just happy because my mom didn't die, right? So because remember, I was just crying, and now my mom is alive, but Eric died. So it was just crazy how it all kind of twisted out, and I didn't grieve because I was just happy that my mom was alive. So then Eric's mom is, I'm talking to her, and she's like, they're gonna have the funeral here, there, and she was like, everybody was asking if she was okay. She was like, well, I just need my boys there because my cousin John, him and Eric, they had formed a huge bond. They had formed a huge bond. Remember, that's why 2 or 3 episodes ago, I broke down crying just because, my cousin, his life went down once Eric died. If Eric was still alive, my cousin life today, right now, would look different. It would look different. It would be hella different. My cousin his life would look different if Eric was still alive. So his mom was like, I just need I'll be all right. I just need my boys, right? Talking about me and my cousin. So I was like, all right, when is the funeral? And I didn't go. I didn't go to the funeral. I just didn't want to see him. I didn't want to see him like that. I just didn't want to see him, dead in a casket. I just didn't want to see him look like that. I just didn't. I didn't want to see him look like that. And I remember I was talking with a friend, and this is crazy. This is crazy because it kind of sets up the timeline. But it's I didn't even know that I was even still talking. This is one of my homies from DC. He was saying he was like, and remember when I went into his room and I saw that gay porn, I totally put that out of my mind, out of my memory. I wasn't even thinking about that, right? But my friend from DC, he was like, yo, because I was telling him, yo, yeah, man, my dog, Eric, he died. He was like, yo, how old? Yo, he was young. He was like, young, dang. He's like, I told him, yo, he died he got pneumonia. And remember, before I left the city, he was sick. He had the flu. He lost a lot of weight. Then when after I got into school, when I got into college that Christmas, I came home. I was over there. He looked fine. He looked fine. He didn't, he didn't look bad at all. He wasn't sick. And that's when I found out that my dad died, right? So then that was probably, so that's Christmas. So the following year, that's when I found out Dennis died, or we just say Eric, right? But that's when I found out that Eric died. It's man, it was just so crazy, right? It was crazy, and I was telling my homie from DC, and he was like, "Yo, young pneumonia." He was like, "Yo, that sound like." He's like, yo, that sound like AIDS. I was like, what? was like, yeah, like, yo, that sound like, yo, like he had the AIDS. Like, yo, regular young people don't die from pneumonia. I was like, what? You feel me? Like, yo, it just blew my mind. It just blew my mind. Now, I didn't go to the funeral, so I didn't talk, because I was asking his mom, yo, what happened? And she was like, we'll talk about it when you get here, right? She didn't, and of course, she doesn't want to talk about it over the phone. I don't know when it happened, like, if it just happened 2 days ago or 3 days. Like, I don't know when it happened from the time that I spoke with her. But that was the last time that I spoke with her. Matter of fact, it wasn't. It wasn't. So, like I said, my friend, he like, yo, that sounded like he had the AIDS. So then he was like, yo, was he gay? Because remember, like, yo, you just don't get the AIDS like that if you straight. Was you shooting up? Was he shooting up? Was he on drugs? Or was he gay or what? So then that brought back that memory of when, I saw the gay porn. So I'm like, of course I didn't say like, yeah. Right? That's not for me to say. But later on it came to my mind like, yeah, like, yo, that might have been. I don't know. Like, so I don't know if he had HIV, if he had AIDS. I don't know about it. I just know that his mom said, they died from pneumonia. So, my dog, he was like, yo, possibility could have been AIDS, right? So, so then I want to say I just ran away because, like, I never did well with death. I just never did well. I just never did. So I didn't go to his funeral. And then I probably spoke with his mom maybe a month later or 2 months later or a year later. But I spoke with her and she was like, she made it a point to say like, yo, she forgave my cousin. Right? She could understand. She was saying like, like, yo, I forgive, I forgive John, right? So she made it a point to like say it, right, to where like I got the message, right? Like, yo, I can forgive John, but I can't forgive you. So that was the last time. That was the last time that I talked to her. I never talked to her again, and I never saw her again. And I don't know what happened to her. And, I mean, that's how life is sometimes. And as crazy as, I definitely didn't want it to be like that, but I understand her perspective, and, everybody, they get to see reality however they want. But like, why do I have to want to be around death? like why do I have to want to be around that shit? I don't want to be around it. Like, I don't. Like, up until I started playing for the church, I only went to one funeral. And that was my cousin John and Alex, their grandfather. That was the only funeral that I've ever been to in my life. It was just that one. Right? So of my loved ones, of people who I know, I only been to one funeral, and that was my cousin Alex and John, their grandfather. That's the only funeral that I've ever been to. Even today, right? Of the people that I know. So, like, that's, like, I didn't go to my father's funeral, right? My mother's, like I didn't even have a funeral, right? So like, that's just something that's just always, just something that always spooked me. And I know that no one can avoid death. Death comes for us all, but I just don't like being around it. Like, I don't like being around it. And I remember once I started playing for the church, like, I went to freaking like a funeral every week. Right? Like, man, I went from no funerals to like, 50. So, but at the same time, like, I understand her perspective on things, and she could see, like, however she justified it in her head, like, yo, he should have paid his respect. And yeah, you're right. I should have paid my respect. I loved Eric, you feel me? and just putting it back into reality. Like, yo, I love Dennis, right? That was my dog. He was my mentor. He was a great role model, just a great person, right? He was just a great person, just a great person to be around, a great human being, just funny, charismatic, just everything. He had everything going for him, and I wish he didn't die, but he did. And look, I wish that I could have, came up to see him, but at the same time, like, yo, I'm glad that I didn't. Like, I'll never know what he looked like. I can imagine what he looked like in that casket. I can imagine it because I've seen hundreds of people's funerals now, but people that I don't know, right? But I'll never know what he looked like in the casket. His memory will always be of a living memory to me. I'll always remember him alive, full of life, just life going through his body, right? That color, the color of life, he'll always have the color of life when I think about him. Just like even with his mom, right? My mom, I actually, I had to view the body. I had to go and see her deceased. But it was, remember, we didn't have a funeral, so she didn't get embalmed or anything like that. So I don't have an image of her like that, because you look different once the embalming phase of everything. Like I'll never have that memory of her. I remember those last moments. Right, I even have a picture of her, maybe like a month or a few weeks before she went to hospital for the last time. Right, so I have that, but I don't want that image of people, and it comes for us all. So I know that there's no way to escape it, but my memory of Dennis are living memories. It's not. I don't know what he looked like when he died, And for the loved ones, his brothers and sisters and family members who were there, and they had to bury him, and they had to see it, and they had to carry him, and some of them may feel like, yo, he should have been there, like, Bo should have been there to go through this process, right? Because he saved me, and he did, like, yo, like I said, like, yo, he was ready to sell crack. Nah, y'all gonna get a job, right? So he definitely saved me. Like, I wouldn't be here where I am right now without him in my life, right? He was definitely impactful. But I can't write his life. And to some degree, I can't even write my own life. I'm only in charge of now. That's all I'm in charge of, is each moment of now. Just like you, right now. Those of you who made it this far, that's all we can control is right now. That's it. Each moment of now, that's all we can control. And what happens in those states of now, we can't control, but we just can control ourselves. So, that's the story. That's Dennis. I definitely love him. Like I said, I wish he didn't die at the moment that he did, but it did, right? And all of you guys will lose people like that in your life, right? So this is just a part of living. It's the part that sucks. But like I said, I don't cry when I think about him, because it's so much good, so much joy. I learned so much, right? And yeah, we had our little differences when I disrespected his mom, which, look, it's all good. Like, yo, he don't want nobody disrespecting his mom. Like, yo, man, don't be beating up cheeks in here while my mom is, watching Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless, right? She watching The Price is Right. You clapping them cheeks. Like, nah, man, it don't work like that. We not over at Calverton Heights. So look, man, I got to respect that. He was a man. He was a man amongst men, no matter what. Like I said, I never talked to him about any of the, I didn't talk to him about that tape. So, who knows? Like, I don't know. right? I don't know. I didn't talk to him about those, about the homie, right? I didn't talk to him about that. So I'm only giving y'all what the hood gave me on what happened when homie went to sleep, right? I don't know. I wasn't there. So I don't know who, if it was, if it was Eric, if it was his friend, I don't know, right? So I'm only giving you guys what the hood gave me. And with that tape, like I said, like, I don't know. Like, look, I don't know if it was his. Like, yo, I don't know. There's no excuse. So whatever his preferences is, it didn't matter. Like, that's something that I do know, that no matter what his preference was, like, yo, he was still going to be cool with me. Like, I wouldn't have, I'm not going to have an issue with it, because I know that, yo, he's a good person. And, like, yo, that's not going to change our relationship. It wouldn't have changed. So, with that being said, what do we got? Look, I mean, it's really nothing else. Like, yo, we're going to be cooking up, still continuing to try to advance on the YouTube. We're going to be back at it next week with the podcast. So, we're just advancing. We're just in a state of growth. We're in a state of creativity. And I'm definitely excited, and you just never know what's going to happen. Like, yo, we had tragedy last week, the week before that, and the week before that, and we probably had some tragedy next week. But, like, yo, man, we just like the itsy bitsy spider. Like, yo, we can't control what comes our way. We only can control our state of now. So, with that being said, Reese's there's a man standing on the corner. He has no home.